In last week's exclusive programme, we looked at the investment scams being plied on expats here by fellow countrymen, the way that the scam works and how many, perhaps hundreds, are unaware that their money has disappeared. In this programme, we look in depth at cases, many brought to us as a result of last week's programme. And if you think you might have been scammed, let us know through our website alwayspattaya.com.
Over the last week, we have been contacted daily by expats who have lost small and large fortunes to so-called wealth management schemes, promising excellent returns, safe investment, and continued professional management. For many, it turns out that management fell by the wayside, and in all cases shared with us, it would appear that the sellers, agent or advisors, all went for the best commission. If you imagine you're in a store here and looking at a refrigerator, the chances are a member of staff will approach you and try to lead you to a different one. The reason? Simple really. There is a bonus commission on the one they recommend. And sadly, in many cases here, that's how so-called financial advisors have acted, pointing their clients toward what later turn out to be pump and dump investments that offer the agent an amazing commission, all from their clients' hard-earned money.
In most cases, investors were told to transfer their funds not here, but into fund clearing centers in Luxembourg and the Isle of Man. None of the investments were actually cleared or managed from within the UK, so as you can expect, none are covered by protection from the British Financial Services authorities. As all were outside Thailand and sold illegally, those investments are not protected by the Thai authorities either. Those authorities here, though, are expecting to receive details very soon, as they are compiled by a committee of people who lost money and lawyers working together. This week, we can confirm that losses add up to the tens of millions just in our region, as documents sent to us show some losing £100,000, others £750,000, and many somewhere between those two figures.
As these funds represent a significant amount, it's no wonder that many kept every single email, letter, and document. Those documents record everything from initial contact through to total loss of funds. In each case, the sales agents wipe their hands once they share the bad news. But the good news is that those saved documents clearly show the trail and, of course, who sent them to the so-called investors.
Now, this week, the money pages in the Daily Mail newspaper are uncovering similar scams carried out in Britain. The similarities between their cases and those who lost money here prove without doubt that many have become incredibly well off. Sadly, the money is made by the sellers and not those who invested.
The Daily Mail report links to a £120 million compensation battle organised by hundreds who lost money and against two investment firms, with the claim that they promoted or acted as a conduit for fraud on a massive scale. They allege that Friends Provident International, along with Utmost International, effectively turned a blind eye to funds going into highly risky investments and which have seen one British lawyer jailed for 14 years.
The following is a direct quote from the Daily Mail, and a link to their complete article is listed below.
Pensioners told Money Mail they were left suicidal, with retirement dreams in tatters after putting their cash into what they were told were safe and low-risk funds which they trusted because of the respected institutions promoting them. In fact, most of the investments were high-risk and sold by unlicensed and unregulated financial advisors, according to the claim, but were nevertheless approved to use online accounts with both financial giants to assess the state of their investments. In a further blow, the pensioners say both companies listed often charged them thousands of pounds in management fees even after the value had collapsed. People put their savings into investments marketed and sold as an insurance policy or bond by the financial giants, which effectively acted as a vehicle for a series of high-risk funds. Most investors were approached by independent financial advisors through word of mouth, but were shown branded corporate literature from the investment giants promoting the funds. Others included speculative property developments, which either collapsed or lost significant value. And in our records, we now have reference to others, such as hotel development in Europe that collapsed and mining operations in Australia, which, after promotions telling investors that they were exceeding their own expectations, suddenly went into receivership or were dissolved. Both FEI and Utmost, previously known as Scandia, Old Mutual International, OMI, and Quilter International now claim in court papers that they had no obligation to check out the funds that collapsed and have blamed investors and the financial advisors. They go on to say that they only deal with advisors and not investors, and that those advisors are expected to be professional with a full understanding of their products. The pensioners also claim they were told the investment firms were regulated by the city watchdog, the UK Financial Services Authority, which has since become the Financial Conduct Authority. But they later discovered because the firms are in the Isle of Man, there is no such protection. One couple who lost £250,000 actually went to the Isle of Man ombudsman only to be told they couldn't get the cash back. They were offered just £200 as compensation for Scandia's poor customer service. By now, the Daily Mail report rings alarm bells here in Thailand, as investment plans, clearing houses, countries involved, and the methods used are all in line with what has happened to British expats who trusted so-called advisors here in many cases. The difference is, of course, that here in Thailand each and every so-called investment advisor, agent or referrer, is working illegally and breaking the laws which prohibit anyone other than a Thai national from working in this type of business.
Neither Friends Provident nor Utmost responded to inquiries from the British newspaper, but both denied liability.
The Mail went on to quote a former independent financial advisor who made a living from sales in Thailand, who gave a witness statement in the trial of a corrupt plan. In this statement, according to the Mail, he admitted to working illegally here and, despite being unlicensed and unregulated, was allowed to work with Friends Provident and told by them that their products were rock solid and all were approved after due diligence.
And from Britain, it's back to Thailand and those who lost their savings here. It's as clear as a bell that the methods used in the UK are those used here too, and whilst many are being forced to return to the UK due to a lack of funds, most have had to accept that they are unlikely to see any of their money again. Meanwhile, those agents, those so-called advisors, well, they are still in business, still gleaning new customers, but they're keeping well away from existing clients. So much so that they often refuse contact, and despite promising the earth when the contract was signed, have in effect dumped their clients after they were pumped dry.
But there is good news for the expat community. These predators rely on new blood, new arrivals, and those who have come into funds recently. And as their personal details are gathered, listing their addresses on luxury developments, along with obvious assets here, it's expected that with thousands following these news stories on Fabulous 103 now, their business will lessen. Worse for them is the fact that, with their former client, together with a well-known Thai lawyer, they are adding documents received over the last week to those already in their records, to compile a full dossier which will be forwarded to the Thai authorities. As a consortium of investors, their voice will be heard, and as a consortium of people from various backgrounds, so the actual workings of the scam, commission through to back-end payments, is becoming more and more documented and understood. Many will find it difficult to keep up the appearance of decency and respectability, and they too will find it hard to convince anyone of their credibility here. There have been a few honest businessmen who have been assisting those who lost their money. One such person, who will of course remain nameless, even told his inherited client to contact us. He had been and is working with the client to try and recover at least some of his money. And if you are one of those 6 agents so far on our list for the region, well, the future isn't very bright. Obviously, most won't know they are on the list until it's too late, but of one thing be sure. These investors have all committed now to investing in a new product, one that only brings an element of satisfaction, not wealth, and that is to bring them down